If you made it through last week's episode, thank you so much. And you may or may not have noticed that I left one bullet point out of the conversation. And this was because I feel like it deserves an entire episode all to itself. This is the fact that the brands that we sell do an excellent job of creating buy-in. When you start your career in beverage sales, you're indoctrinated into a culture. You're shown the ways of the brand, and if you're lucky, you get brought in like a family and convinced that you have a stake in its performance. This is true in some regard, but the bigger the company gets, the more brands you'll be expected to advocate for, and the more space you'll need to fight for on the shelf and in your heart. At some point, all of this can feel overwhelming, and if it gets too overwhelming, you can turn into a robot that's just going through the motions, or you can become overzealous. And this is the category that I tend to fall into. I made a list of all the brands that I've managed over the years, and it really adds up. I've also had some pretty heated conversations with stores and vendors that, looking back on now, kind of feel embarrassing. What I'm trying to say is that there is only one brand that you should feel this passionate about. I mean, really go all in for and keep as your own. And that's the one that you develop for yourself. I know that you've probably seen all the videos of these cool displays and events that I do for Monster, and I really do love what I do. You may also have heard me say this before, but it's worth mentioning again. I've had over 40 jobs. I felt passionate about some, and others didn't last too long, and they were just a means to an end. Eventually, I did get lucky, and I discovered that being a vendor was my thing. I was working with Red Bull as a sales rep whenever I discovered this about myself. Every day I showed up and I was passionate in the trade for this brand. In fact, I made working for this brand my entire persona. It was who I was completely, until it wasn't. So what happened once I left? When somebody else's dream has been who you are for almost a decade, and it's a passion you fell out of love with, what do? I struggled with this for a while, actually. I ended up going into roofing sales, and that wasn't it. So I came back to Beverage, and I worked like crazy to figure out what I wanted, who I was, and how I could show up for myself every day. At the time, I really didn't realize what was happening, but looking back on the past few years, it's very clear now. I was going through the process of self-discovery, defining my personal brand, and then creating a process for how to stay true to my values. Only after I did this was I able to chart a path forward. Now, here's the thing. No one can really give you a roadmap to your idea of success. Someone else's brand or vision or dreams can't be yours. So yes, while I'm working for Monster right now, this is simply a vessel for my passions and values. And don't get me wrong, I am extremely grateful that it aligns as well as it does with my personal brand. But I do want to make this clear. It doesn't encompass all that I am like previous brands and jobs that I've had in the past. This is simply an extension of who I am. And luckily, it gives me the opportunity to have fun and incorporate my other passions as well. But finding this opportunity could only come after defining what it was that I really wanted, and then intentionally seeking it out in an industry and role that made sense for me. If you're thinking that you need a change, I want to invite you into what is right now an exclusive club. The club where you can get one-on-one career coaching at a fraction of the price of what I'm seeing other online coaches do it for. If you've applied for roles and you haven't gotten much further than the initial interview, or know deep down that you're ready for the next role, but you're not sure where to start and need guidance, but aren't actually getting it from your leadership, I want to help you. I understand how frustrating it can be to feel like you're stuck in an entry-level role when you have so much more to give. The problem isn't that you don't have talent, it's just that you're not packaging it and delivering it to the right people. It took me several years to discover this, but once I did, I was able to create a system that helped me get where I wanted to go. It opened up the door to much more fulfilling roles and, of course, better pay. If you like what you're currently doing but you want to be better at it, there's also so many strategies to become a better merchandiser, salesperson, leader, or coach in the CPG world. In a future podcast, I'll make it a point to give you all the knowledge that I have. I've been in that situation where I knew that I was ready for more. And I know how it feels to talk to leadership and have them tell you that they're going to get you on that road to that promotion. At least from my experience, this may work out for a month or two if you're very lucky. Then the regular day-to-day starts getting in the way. You have to realize that leadership at your company also has their own obligations to their role, and while coaching is an important part of what they do, it's not the main focus of what they're supposed to be doing. In one of my favorite books, It's Okay to Be the Boss, I read this quote that always stuck with me. Your good employee will tell you what they need to be more successful. And if I was you, I take this a step further. Now, asking for help is always a good way to get on the radar of leadership, but make a plan of your own. So then whenever you go to leadership, you have this path forward ready to share, and then you can get their perspective on what they believe will work and what won't work. Then you blend those ideas to chart your path forward. The Brand Builders community is a step-by-step process in self-discovery, archetype and value and industry alignment, and a systematic process for delivering your brand in a way that helps you stand out in a sea of applications. It's designed to help you get to that next level. I wish I could sit here and tell you that there's some type of magic bullet that will automatically get you where you want to go quickly, but the reality is you're always going to have to put in the work. The Brand Builders community is simply a tool. You're only going to get out of it what you put into it. Inside of this community, there's some powerful principles, theories, and strategies that are going to help you along your journey. I built out this strategy whenever I was working in beer, and I knew that I needed to make a shift into a different role within my target industry. It took about a year of trial and error, and there was some heartbreak along the way. But as I continued to refine the system, my applications got better because my personal brand was starting to look and feel just like those major brands that I was applying to work with. The self-discovery and act of building out presentations and marketing myself to new people played a huge role in expanding my comfort zone, which in turn gave me a ton of confidence as I was going into these interviews. I found myself asking the questions and guiding the conversations more than I had ever done before in these interviews. Everything that you see across my social media channel is uniquely me, and I genuinely want anyone who's looking for a fulfilling, meaningful career to find that. I know how it feels to be confused as to why you're getting overlooked, and I know it hurts whenever you're told by leadership that you're not quite ready, but not giving any direction as to what you need to do to improve to be ready. The Brand Builders community is a personal development guide and a one-on-one coach that will always be there when you need them most. I want you to check out bevedu.co/brandbuilders and join this community, and let's get you where you want to be. Do I think that you can develop yourself on your own? Absolutely. But I want you to consider all of those free opportunities that you've had with the brand that you're working for now or have in the past. Now, I know that there's career development plans across all major companies, but really, where have those gotten you so far? I want to give you all the secrets that I had to learn the hard way that got me where I wanted to be so that you don't have to waste as much time figuring it out on your own or waiting for someone else to show you. I look forward to seeing you in the Brand Builders community. Let's start building.